this is OrbitCast. I'm your host, Mehdi. Today, here with me, I have a very special guest. Her name is Dr. Essete. She is one of our incubatees from Orbit Innovation Hub. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Mehdi. Thank you for inviting me here.
Great. So, to start off the interview, let's just start with you telling us about yourself. So, who's Dr. Essete? Where did she grow up? Just from how you were brought up to now.
Okay. My name is Dr. Yohannes, and I grew up in Addis, specifically in Boli, and I learned my primary and secondary school in Deborah and Boli Essete School, respectively. And I had a pretty much nice childhood, and I live with my family and with 4 siblings of mine. One of them is married. And I learned my medicine degree from Beryl. I took my medicine degree from Beryl Medical College. I'm a graduate of 2020. This pretty much sums up.
Wow, thank you for that. And you just mentioned that you are a doctor. So, how was that? I hear med school is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I have also a family member who's a doctor, so I know the struggle, especially here in Ethiopia, to obtain the degree. So, how was that journey, and how did it prepare you for your journey for now?
Med school is known to be a tough school. It's the most. I think it's the toughest of all. I'm sorry for the other professions, but I really think it's tough. But it's also enjoyable if a person is really into the field. So it's exciting at the same time. It's so intimidating, and it has a lot of ups and downs. And there were a lot of but there's a countless of times that I wanted to quit. There were a lot of tough times, but at the same time, it has some kind of this encouraging thing, this very strong pull to the field itself. So you don't really want to go out of it. You don't want to stay either, actually, because sometimes you just want to go, and that makes you strong. But I think passion is important when we are talking about medicine. As you said, it's really hard to be a medical doctor, or especially medical student in Ethiopia. There are a lot of things that I think should be out of the system. And so if you have a passion for it, I think that would be the determination for you to finish the med school, and that helped me a lot.
So definitely being passionate helps when you're pursuing something. Thank you for that. So you are a doctor, and now you're a CEO for a startup. So tell me a little bit about your startup and what it has been like, the journey so far.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I am a CEO of a startup company called TechMed. So TechMed is basically a home care service company, and it gives home care in a more organized and digitalized way as possible. TechMed is a company that me and other 3 female young girls and doctors founded in around December 2020. So the journey for TechMed so far I think it's kind of interesting. We just wanted, first we wake up as any normal aspiring person or something, and we wanted to fill that gap. There's also our own situation guiding us through, and eventually we started pitching to a couple of incubation programs, one of them being Orbit, and thankfully we got accepted to Orbit. I'm thankful for that. We are so thankful for that. So here we've learned a lot of things that we couldn't have imagined it without the training. We've learned a lot of things about startup. Med school, one of the things is that we're so contained in the system. We just don't have any energy or time or anything to think or do anything outside the med school. So we don't really know anything. We don't really know about the finance and the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur and opening a company. So these are all the hassles that that we got a solution in the incubation program for the past 4 months.
Yeah,
So
thank
it was a
you.
wonderful journey.
Yeah, interesting. So you just mentioned, highlighted actually, Orbit Innovation Hub. You were one of the incubatees. So you highlighted the journey, but can you tell me more about how it was like? What did you learn, especially from the trainings or from different networking events? How was the program to you, and how was it beneficial in your journey as a startup?
So the trainers were so interactive and they were so easygoing. They used to help us with everything, with any simple and dumb question, as it might seem, for them, and they answered all the questions. They were so patient and tolerant, and the list goes on. And it all helps. It all helped us for a good for a good start for the entrepreneurship. So we've learned a lot, and there were variety of things that were discussed that we took training on. So there was a finance training, marketing training, and the personal branding, the branding itself, the whole thing, and each and every one of them was as important it was so important. It was so awesome. And we had really fun and we challenged ourselves doing the deliverables and engaging ourselves and how much we can do, seeing our capacities in it.
So something that stood out for you would be the fact that it was very interactive. So having that human element is very important when you're thinking about incubation hubs.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Now for the lighter version of this podcast, let's do a quick fire challenge. It's where I would say a word, and then you say a word as well that comes to mind when you hear of that word. For example, let's say I say woman and you say maybe strong or nurturing. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be a very quick one, so let's just make it as quick as possible.
Okay.
So business,
Challenging.
entrepreneurship,
Um, achievements.
okay, leadership,
Uh, Creativity.
I think this one's a tough one, team,
Oh, team. Oh, that's tough. Team. mm, I think unity or understanding.
startup,
Startup, change,
technology.
technology, easy.
Great. So that was our quick part. Thank you so much, Dr. Essete. So just to go into what you were saying also before, what are the challenges of you having a startup? We talked about in this quick fire, we talked about business, entrepreneurship, and something you really highlighted was unity, creativity, and technology. Those things they come together, and right now you have digital health. You're working on digital health. Your startup is working on that. So, what are the challenges so far that you've noticed building a startup?
The first thing that has been challenging for us was different variety of knowledge. As I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot from the incubation program, and as a person and as an entrepreneur, you also ought to have a lot of informations and a lot of experiences, knowledge about a variety of stuff. That's one of the challenges, especially for a person who comes from one background like me in a medicine or something like that. The other challenge would be having a perfect partnership with people. In a startup, you need different type of people, a lot of other kind of variety. Professionals or professions are involved in one startup. Whether we like it or not, we have to associate with a lot of type of professions, and having and selecting those persons, those people, been another challenge that we have come across. Yeah. And it has taught us that we need to have a different mindset, and we need to see many views before deciding on some things. Choice has been difficult. So for a choice, we have to see a lot of opinions. We have to hear a lot of things, and we have to listen. We have to be able to listen to advices and keep the opportunity open so that we could add another additional knowledge each time.
Thank you. So to wrap up this podcast, I would want you to give advice to your younger self. And I think when you give advice to your younger self, the younger generation that is also listening, or even our generation, could benefit from that. And if you have any comments, acknowledgements that you would want to give, this is your time.
Okay. So what would I advise to my younger self, for anybody that's listening, is to never give up on our dreams. That would be the first one. Things, our environments limit us often. The things, especially in Ethiopia, things usually limit us often. Our study limits us, our working environment limits us. It's really good to go beyond that, to challenge ourselves, to go beyond what we're currently doing, and to explore other areas whether we can do it. Especially it's gonna be interesting if that area is going to be a dream or something. So I would advise that to be more challenging, to let ourselves to be more challenging, and to accept problems as something that could bring to solutions, or not to treat problems as the end of the life or something like that. And for the acknowledgement, I have too many people to acknowledge and thank. I don't think this podcast is gonna be enough for me. But let's start with God. I'm so thankful for God, for everything, and I'm so thankful for my family. They're the reason who I am right now, and also my co-founders, my team members, so that we could bring this dream together to reality. So that means a lot to me, and to Orbitas and all of the staff. It's been so wonderful, 4 months training, and I'm sure I'm not going to stop here. And for everybody that helped me, for my friends, for everybody that has been giving me advice and following me through. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much for coming. It was a very interesting conversation. I definitely learned a lot. I'm sure our audiences learned a lot as well. Thank you, Doctor, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.